Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ GOONS podcast. I'm your host, Tim, a.k.a. Grips of the North Star, a.k.a. Jits Bay, a.k.a. Mr. I Heel Hook White Belts in the Gi because I train for the streets, a.k.a. the Mush Master, a.k.a. King of the BJJ Deathmatch, a.k.a. the Trainwreck God, a.k.a. Trillmonger, a.k.a. the Best Match Machine, a.k.a. Fuck Your Rankings, I Want All the Smoke, a.k.a. the Elker Strangler, a.k.a. the Underground King, a.k.a. Blast Double Poppy, a.k.a. Musha T, as you can see. And my co-host, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, it's Nico Ball, no Nico, or the Crossface Killer. That's all I got, only one AKA, but that's all I really need. What's up?
What's up with me? Nothing much. Just reorganizing my house. I had to break down a whole bunch of furniture and desks and stuff that I don't need in my recording area so that I can create a recording studio for the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're about to get ready to come out of quarantine.
Yes, we are slowly but surely. We're being safe, but I have most of the equipment that I need, a little more scenery and furniture for the studio and the set that I have in mind, but everything is looking on the up and up, but it is a lot of hard work. So that's been what I've been working on today. What about you?
Well, actually, I'm having surgery tomorrow. So way back in November, I had a detached retina. So I had a surgery for that, and they had to put like a buckle on my eye, and they filled it with gas. So tomorrow they're gonna remove all that. So I'm actually getting ready, preparing everything, because like my dad's coming down from Philly, and I haven't seen him since like Christmas. So that's crazy. So he's coming down. I'm packing up everything. So I'm going to go stay at a hotel somewhere chill with air conditioning. And yeah, just getting ready for surgery and whatnot.
Damn, how long is the recovery? What is the process like?
Well, they told me like in 2 weeks I could go back to drilling. Not that, like I would be training in these times of quarantine. But that's pretty good because again, like now they're just like taking out the oil. So like the major procedure is done. And like, because the first time it was like 3 months where I couldn't do like any physical activity and I couldn't like elevate my heart rate. But now like 2 weeks is like pretty easy for me. And most people don't know, but like I'm actually blind, like completely blind in one eye, and I have been for like 3 years. So they're gonna remove the cat. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
That's why Malachi be getting on me all the time, because if you come up on my blind side and you try to dap me up, like I don't have good periphery, so like I walk away from Malachi all the time, and he'll be following me trying to dap me up. It's because I can't see.
Like you legit cannot see.
No, it's just like it's just blurry. I can just kind of see light. So no. So that's why I went. Like I didn't have health insurance for a while because it's America. And but I went to go get like a DC driver's license, and I failed the vision test. Like smack failed it, like because you put your eye into the thing and like you have to read across the line, but what you can't see is there's like 3 little separate squares of letters, and if you can't see out of one eye, like it completely blacks out the square. Like so she's like, you need to read the first letters, and I was like, I am, because it didn't even look blurry or anything, it was just completely black. She's like, no, those aren't the first ones. I was like, yeah, they are. And then I was like, oh yeah, so that's why I had to go get, like, I had to see if I could get it fixed, because like they're gonna try to take my driver's license away.
So your goal is that you'll be able to see out of that eye after tomorrow.
Yeah, like any kind of improvement. I just need a little bit of peripheral improvement just to like secure my driver's license. Like if I could see out of it, it would be great. But like I'm kind of just I'm used to it the way that it is. I mean, that sounds really messed up, but
was it just an accident that you couldn't see out that eye, or was it like...
Nah, it was MMA. It was a kick to the head by a girl that didn't cut her toenails at Nouveau Lion.
Oh my God. That's how Winklejohn lost his eye.
Yeah.
Holy.
And then like I it healed, and then I went back to fighting. So I was still doing stand-up. Like, this is kind of why I stopped doing stand-up, but it still took me like a year after it happening the first time to like actually stop. A year in a different injury that had nothing to do with my eye. And then I was like, let me just do jiu-jitsu. But yeah, so it'll be interesting because so I went in to get the cataract removed. The funny thing and the problem is I went in to get the cataract removed, and that's when they told me my retina was detached again. So like, and there was no way to know because I was blind in that eye already, so I didn't know there was like another issue. So like, the longer your retina is detached, like the less likely you'll be able to recover vision. So it's like highly likely that like it's very unlikely that my vision will go back to like perfect. But like I said, I just need a little improvement.
You learn something new every day. I had no idea you were blind in one eye. That's intense.
Yeah.
I have more respect for you now more than ever. The way you're training with all these animals with one eye. Well, you have both, but you can see only out of one.
Yeah, it was the doctor that was like, well, because it never occurred to me that it would be a problem. The doctor was like, well, if anything happens to your one good eye, like if you get an eye infection, you're gonna be blind, so it's better. And I was like, oh, that would be a problem. Like, like if I get pink eye in my good eye, like, yeah, no, then it's game over.
The shit you take for granted, man.
Yeah.
The shit you take for granted.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So what is up? What's going on in the jiu-jitsu world that you wanted to talk about today? We have a lot of topics. Where should we start?
Oh man, it's like I've been trying to get it all in before it's like, it's only going to be 2 weeks where I can't train. And it's like, it's not like I'm going to be out, but I've been trying to like consume all of like the jiu-jitsu matches. I've been studying matches. I've been like watching like a lot of the UFC. I haven't watched UFC in a while, but I noticed like, first of all, I want to talk about like local, and nobody else might care, but Grappling Industries is coming back to Virginia Beach on August 1st.
I had no idea until you told me earlier. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, I'm secret training. Like, I'm definitely secret training, but I don't think I would go to a competition just yet. And if I was going to go to a competition, like, it would need to be like for some cash money. Like, if I'm going to risk exposure, I just got my COVID test back today. It's negative. I was like, I feel like traveling to Virginia Beach, because everybody travels to Virginia Beach, come from Carolina, like a ton of people, and going into those competitions. And Grappling Industries is round robin, so it's not like, oh, you go in, you get tapped out, and you get away from the corona. It's like you going in over and over and over again. So it's like, I don't think it would be my place, but I'm curious to see what the numbers are going to look like.
I would not do that tournament at all. I would do a super fight
at that tournament. Would you go into the vicinity? Yeah.
No, like I would do like a Fight Island style thing now, because around my way the schools are kind of opening back up. But if you feel uncomfortable, you can always train with a small group of people that you trust, that they're not going out to the club or going out to the bar. And if they are out and about getting groceries and whatnot, they're wearing masks. So I get that secret training part, even though technically around our way, it's not really secret training. Like, people are training. And now we're in Maryland, we're in the DMV, so the stakes are a little bit different. But as far as a tournament, like a normal tournament, Grappling Industries, like, you got to think at least half of the people there probably don't wear masks in general, because they're pretty gung-ho about going to it. Like, they want to be the guinea pigs, or in their eyes, they're not guinea pigs. They're just doing their right to train, and they're doing their freedom thing. So it's like,
all right.
If I think about it, now some people want to take the risk. That's not for me. I would wait. And when you said numbers, do you mean like numbers of the Rona, or like how many people?
No, how many people are taking that risk? I want to see them brackets. It's like, how many people are taking that first dive?
Well, it is Virginia, like it's the South. So I'm not trying to generalize, but the South, if we just look at it, like they're far more willing to risk something like this in this situation. So I'd say the numbers would be pretty damn high.
I'm not gonna lie. When I found out about this tournament, it was followed immediately by a discussion about the difference between hillbillies and rednecks and the refined type of people that habitate Virginia Beach. So like,
I've been to Virginia Beach a couple times, and I don't really know the difference between a redneck and a hillbilly, but I do know in that part of Virginia, there are a lot of people with bug out bags, and they have a very different view of the government. And, you know, I think they're prepared for the Mad Max scenario down there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers are high, like they're ready for anything. I won't be there though. I won't be there. I'm too shook to even go to one of these fight to wins or grappling, not a grappling industries. What's it? Third Coast Grappling, and they have crowds. Like I was kind of getting comfortable with the idea. I'm like, you know, I can find guys that I trust to train and I can prepare. But then I'm like, you got to go on the flight and you're gonna go somewhere. And now they have audiences. Now they have masks, but like there's audiences, and it's kind of got me skittish. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Good luck to them. May the gods be forever in their favor.
Hey. Yeah, well, that's the local one. And then I think somebody in Rio told me like there's competitions that are going to be opening up like local, but May, who was up training with us, like May is fighting in Sao Paulo. There's like a promotion in Sao Paulo called BJJ All Stars. And I think it's like BJJ All Stars official Instagram. And I don't know if a lot of people in the US know about it, because it's like a company that's based in Sao Paulo and they run their own pay-per-view. Like they're the one people that aren't trying to get their shit on Flow Grappling. And it's like not free. So they have an independent thing that's just really cool. So I think it's like $10. So if you can, like, definitely go and buy that stream and support that, because, you know, everybody wants to complain about like Flow Grappling's prices and this and that and news and jiu-jitsu. Well, support small local jiu-jitsu companies, and there should be some dope fights on that. Like I know I don't even know who May's fighting. Like I should care, but I'm just like, hey, May. And it's his black belt debut. I was just excited about that.
Do you know who Kleber Clandestino is?
No, but Clandestino sounds kind of like gangster, like clandestine, like.
Or Destino is in Destiny. Yeah. That's pretty dope. I'm going with May, of course.
Yeah, of course. And then Gabriel, Rocha, and Kainen and Dante are on that same card. So definitely a reason to go pay $10. Just go throw them some money.
Let me read the big names in this. I'm going to read the top four I see. Bianca Basilio versus Ana Rodriguez.
Oh.
Claudio Calazans versus Izaki Bayensi. Patrick Gaudio versus Erbirth Santos. This is totally going to be another riot situation, potentially. I actually did BJJ Stars. And that's a Patreon exclusive story.
Yeah,
I will say that Erbirth lost his shit. Man, we had to go in the crowd and get it. Well, I tried to go in the crowd and get him and like make sure, like, you know, because I rolled with those guys. Like, you know, those are guys I train with. DJ went the other way, but that's a totally different story.
Yo, and Today was there too. Shit.
He was.
Was that the day that was the time Today was there? Because DJ was with Today. Because DJ had been like, that was the same card, right? No, it had to have been.
That was February, like last year.
That because if you were there and DJ was there, because DJ was with Today sending me some wild videos and whatnot, you know. Like
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It had to have all been the same time. I don't think
I'm gonna tell you something about DJ, okay? And he's gonna be on the show next week. This Bama, right? So this was around the time there was a snowstorm, okay? And I got stranded in Maryland, and I had to get like a red eye the same day as the weigh-in for the flight. So like I was on a plane and I was in the country for less than 24 hours and I had to fight. And I was mad at DJ. I was like, yo, DJ, we're supposed to fly together. Like, if you were going to reschedule your flight, why didn't you tell me? Like, I'm stuck and I'm ass out and I got to fight this guy, Patrick Gaudio, with basically no sleep. And like, you know, so I was really tight. But another part of that story, like now I think about BJJ Stars, is like, this car like pulled up on us and like me and DJ were drunk as shit, right? And we're like walking through Sao Paulo, and I think, you know, Lucia, right?
Yeah, of course.
So she was like our tour guide, right? And we're drunk, and like this Jeep pulls up. We, you know, like those hood movies, like Boys in the Hood, where it creeps up real slow, and then like the window goes down. I'm like, oh shit! And it's like Serginho just coming in there smiling. He's like, hey, what's up, guys? I was like, oh, God. I thought it was a
Yeah,
wrap. Like, I was like,
a
damn, like,
BJJ drive-by, yeah. Yeah.
yes. I was like, damn, like, do we
That's
really
how
look
it
that
is.
American? Like, we're black dudes. Like, we don't dress like Americans, like typical Americans with the fanny packs. But yeah,
Do
that's a
you not
good
have a
look.
fanny pack, Tim? You have a fanny pack.
Yeah, but I don't wear that in like if I'm visiting other places like that. Like if
And
I'm
so does
comfortable.
Jamil. And I don't care. Like, he could choke me out all the times he want. I hate people that wear their fanny packs. I hate that.
Why?
I don't know, because that's not how a fanny pack is supposed
But
to be.
if I'm wearing like nice shorts or pants, like my wallet got mad bands in it, I need space for to walk around with my pockets, so I got the fanny.
Let's change the subject before cancel culture comes for me for that fanny pack shit.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're gonna get canceled. Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
make
me.
fun of
No,
fanny
I think
pack.
those fanny packers roll strong though. Like, I don't fucks with them, but I think they roll strong. And like, I mean, just Jamil, Rico is probably one of them. Just the two of them.
You just gotta check that prejudice at the door. But the next fight I saw was Leandro versus Lucas Barbosa, the Hulk, and Joao Gabriel Rocha versus Kainen Duarte. That's a stacked card.
They always come up with good cards.
It is a stacked.
That's what happens. They pay.
Yeah, they pull up the Brinks truck. What are your thoughts on some of these matchups? Who do you think's gonna win? What is your opinion? You can talk your shit, please.
I mean, I'm interested to see, like, I'm not sure who's gonna win. I'm not good at like predictions. What I'm interested to see is like the level of athleticism. Like May's, like, I know May's a killer. He's always had super exciting style. So I'm interested to see is how that's changed through like the 9 months of coming out of like quarantine. Like, I see him on Instagram and I know he's kind of training. But doing cardio and doing weightlifting, it's a little bit different. I don't know how many training partners he has. Like, Erbirth is another interesting one. He's always interesting on the mats and like apparently psychotic off of the mats. So like, if you want to think about how he's held up with quarantine. What?
Said I could neither confirm nor deny, but continue.
I mean, you don't need to confirm it or not. You just need to look at the pictures of him from Worlds. Like look at three years of consecutive years of Worlds pictures, and the one where he's got the crazy hair and stuff, and like started tap. He went through some stuff, and it's noted. It's highly noted on Flow Grappling. You can clearly see that. It's not to confirm or deny. So it'll be interesting to see where Erbis at, like, where he's coming out of after, quarantine and everything. That, like, I think I want to see some exciting fights, that, like, I want to see how people, like, what's happened after 4 months of no normal training.
I do too. I've been watching Lowe and Erbirth train on Instagram, or they share a conditioning coach. I see Izaki winning just on the strength of he's been training with the Dream Art guys. They just I am so envious. Like, that's an ideal training environment. Just being in that crib, training with each other, eating, sharing thoughts, and like you can sleep. Like, there's nothing I would give to be able to literally walk out of my room, walk outside the door, and train, and have my boys with me to train with. And that's invaluable. I think that's a difference in combat sports that we haven't seen, or really we've taken for granted, is that if you're a boxer, let's say you want to go to Big Bear in California, your whole crew is there with you. There's none of this having to fight traffic for hours at a time, and it's all catered towards you, and you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know what Claudio Calazan's training situation is, but I don't think it's on that level. On top of that, I think Isaac is top 2 in the world in middleweight. He had a really razor close match with Gabriel Arges, and I think he's probably evolved. He's the most interesting case for evolution over the quarantine and how they made a leap within the last year, because although he is teaching, he's still training with killers, and that roster is just so deep. It's like one of the deepest rosters for lower belts I've seen in ages. Patrick Gaudio versus Erbirth. It depends on what Erbirth shows up. I think a motivated Erbirth, I think a Erbirth with his head on straight is a world beater. There's very few people that can beat Erbirth in general, but if he's super focused and he's like a madman in a good way, there's not too many guys that can beat him.
Nah, he runs through people.
Runs through. When I saw him run through Bernardo Faria, I was like, this guy is a different animal.
Oh.
Because it wasn't like, I'm going to beat Bernardo on his terms. It's like, no, Bernardo, I'm just going to mollywop you until the time is up, or you get tired of me scoring on you, or I just tap you. So, yeah, Patrick Gaudio is a great fighter. He's fantastic. But I think a focused Erbirth, and the Erbirth that I see on IG, of course, it's IG, so we don't really know. I don't see him losing. I mean, he had a close match with Buchecha within his first couple years at black belt in the finals of the Open. If that is your peak, dude, like, I'm not putting my money against you. Barboza versus Lowe. I'm dead ass. So think about it. Like, come on, bro. Like, you going close to Buchecha. Like, it's not too many people that score on Buchecha, and there's very few people that can go a whole match with Buchecha without, getting handed their ass to him. But Erbirth did fine. Barboza versus Lowe is interesting. Lowe has the credentials, but lately Lowe, he's had a mixed bag. And I think it's natural to have mixed results when you're fighting at the level we do. Jiu-Jitsu is really difficult in that it's not like boxing where you have a lot of time off to evolve, and you're going to fight the same guys over and over again. So if you could imagine in the UFC, if the top 5 middleweights had to fight each other multiple times throughout the year, you're going to get a mixed bag eventually. You're going to be dominant, and then people are going to catch up, and then you're going to have to evolve. And Barboza, Lucas the Hulk, is great. Like, he's on the warpath. Once again, it's a matter of training camps, what their camps are like. I don't know what they're doing in Atos. I know that they're probably still training, and Lucas Hulk is building. One of the best guys. We'll see. If I had to give an edge, I would put my money on Lucas Hulk. And the main event, I don't know if it's gi or no gi, but it's Joao Gabriel Rocha versus Kainen. This is a main event that I think doesn't get enough attention. I don't know why. Joao Gabriel Rocha is a beast. He beat Buchecha at the last BJJ Stars. I think the one I was at, he beat Buchecha. He has close matches with Buchecha. He had a close match with Gordon Ryan, so he's straight on gi or no gi. I fought him before, and he's faster than you would think. Kainen, if he's on the sauce, I said this before, roided up Kainen is probably like top 5.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, dang. And then we got, we have a part tat on steroids at the end. So, yeah.
Oh, yes. At the end of our little spiel, we're going to cut back to the deleted scenes of Master Donnie, where he talks about a whole heap of stuff, but steroids is one of them. But I will say this, roided up Kainen, arguably one of the best guys to fight. Like, you could put him in any era, and you're like, oh, shit, like, we got problems.
Can you scale like a non-roided up Kainen? Have you ever felt the difference? Like, could you be like, yeah, like he's clearly gone from like a 2 to an 8? I mean, that's a really drastic change. But
I mean, what he looks like, but he's not really competing. He fought a fight to win, correct? He fought Vinicius Tractor. I think he fought Vinicius Tractor, and he looked a little sluggish. But I don't know whether he was off cycle or it was just post ADCC like. But when he was puffed up for Worlds, where he was glowing, or when he was at ADCC fighting Buchecha and going takedown for takedown, this is one of the baddest motherfuckers ever. But I'll give the edge to Joao. I'll give the edge to Joao.
Really? Why?
Why? I think that Joao, he doesn't get a lot of credit for his takedown defense and his takedown attacks. He's one of these guys that he's going to be frustrating to deal with on the feet. And if you can bring the ruckus with the grip fighting, you have a better chance. But Joao Gabriel Rocha has that takedown experience. He has a judo background. I think his brother wrestled legitimately, high level in Brazil. So he has takedowns. So the takedown battle is going to be hard and arduous just because he's an ultra heavyweight. Kainen fights at heavy. Now, Kainen's going to be putting on weight, but it's not going to be natural, just big dude. Joao Gabriel Rocha is big. And that makes a difference in the 10-minute match. If you can't take a giant guy down, and Joao Gabriel Rocha, he's playing with guys on high-level guards. He goes against Gordon Ryan, who's a very good guard. He goes against Buchecha. Buchecha has a hard time trying to sweep him. Buchecha has a good guard. He does the turn-up where he's like, bro, I'm 270 pounds. Like, you're not going to hold me down.
All of it.
Yes, but you're going to feel this. But there's technique behind it. Kainen has a good guard. Kainen is very good at static positions. And if he gets to moving, he gets to moving. But can you put Joao Gabriel Rocha on his back? Can you hold him on his back? And I just look at likewise opponents. It's hard for me to go against Joao Gabriel Rocha. If it's between a great little smaller guy and a great bigger guy, and the technique is pretty even, I'm going to go with the bigger guy. I'm going to go with Joao Gabriel Rocha. That's my pick. But don't bet the house on me. But then again, nobody puts money on jiu-jitsu on like FanDuel or anything. So if you lose your shirt because of me, you can always buy a new one from Favela Jiu-Jitsu.com.
Respect.
The new white on black Mushmaster tees.
All right, so let's wrap it up with one last card because, you know, technically I'm a teacher. I have virtual teaching to do later tonight. So another thing, and it's been driving me crazy how they're announcing it, is Flow Grappling's having another Who's Number One, where they have announced their opponents one by one with all of these different articles. So who do we got? We got Craig Jones is fighting that's the one that I don't know that I started off with, the Hulk, not the Hulk. Who's Craig Jones fighting?
Well, Craig Jones should be fighting. I thought you had it up on your computer.
I did. I'm looking at the blank one, and then I thought you were the one that told me who it was.
Craig Jones is fighting Lucas Hulk, I think.
Yeah, and then in our discourse, I got confused with Barbosa. Yeah, with BJJ All-Star. So Craig Jones is fighting Lucas Hulk. It just got announced. Dante Leone is going to be fighting Gary Tonin. We got two of the boys from the Death Squad. And then we all know that they've been advertising the original Gordon Ryan and Ronaldo Jr. And that's going to be the main event. So where do we want to start? Let's start from the bottom.
Start from the bottom.
Let's start from the bottom. Who do you got with the Craig Jones fight? Craig Jones or Lucas Hulk?
Lucas Hulk.
And why?
Why? I think that if Lucas Hulk can look at the match between Matheus Diniz, the match is between Matheus Diniz and Craig Jones. I think stylistically, Matheus' no-gi style and Lucas Hulk's no-gi style are very similar. And stylistically, Lucas Hulk can do the same things that Matheus Diniz did to negate Craig Jones's guard, to negate his attacks, and get his own shit off by being aggressive. And that can look good in the judge's eyes. If this is regular fight to win rules, I'm not sure. I don't think it's no time limit. And I think he can do the same things. Once again, it's an example of a great bigger guy versus a great smaller guy. And I think Lucas Hulk is just going to win. That's just my pick. He can do the same things that Matheus Diniz did, but better, if he watches the film. I see it being a really hard time for Craig Jones to deal with that onslaught for that long. I think that Lucas Hulk can do the things that Matheus Diniz did in his match with Craig Jones better. And if he watches the film, I think he can handle it way better. And I just think Lucas Hulk has just fought tougher competition. Like that match with Gordon he had, I think he learned a lot from it. And if he can take those lessons and do it to Craig Jones, he can definitely handle business.
Nice. All right, sorry, in that little skirmish. So on the rules too, you brought it up. So Gary Tonin, no, everybody except the main event is going to be having 15-minute submission only rule set. And then Gordon Ryan is having no time limit. You know how he loves his no time limit sub only. So that's exactly what he's got. All right, predictions. Next predictions. Dante Leone and Gary Tonin.
A rematch from an ADCC match, I believe. I'm going to go with Gary Tonin. I don't think that Dante Leone will have made up the gap between now and then. I don't think anything's really going to change. I don't think that unless Dante is really put in a game plan against Gary Tonin, I don't think Dante is going to be able to make that leap just yet. You never know. He might have a great game plan in place, but this is kind of Gary Tonin's element. Although I will say Dante Leone does not get enough credit. The guy is a no-gi world champion at black belt. And there's a very good possibility that he could wreck shop. But I'm going to go with Gary.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, and last but not least, the main event, Gordon Ryan versus Ronaldo Jr.
I don't know why they made this match. It doesn't seem like it's going to be very competitive. I just on a pedigree-wise of, like, accomplishments, I don't see how they decided to make that match. I watched the video as to the history of it. More power to Ronaldo Jr. This is a great opportunity. I just don't see it happening. Unless they're doing some double secret training with the Nogi at Atos, I don't really see it happening. I would put my money on Gordon winning this one. But you never know. That's why we have the matches. That's why we throw down.
All right. That's what's up. All right. That's up. That's all we have for our fight predictions. Anything else that you wanted to add?
No. You want to tell the folks what we have up next on the other side of the bump?
All right. So on the other side of the bump, we're going to have, I think we should call it like tea with Master Donnie. So I don't know if you guys heard the episode. The tea. You got that tea because we tried to end the episode is what happened. And then Master Donnie, and if you heard the episode, you'll hear that Master Donnie just doesn't he has zero fucks to give. He'll say whatever he wants. He'll give his opinion, and his opinion is very educated on things. So we like to get it. So at the end of the episode, he's like, no, I want some juicy questions. So we have 2 additional questions or topics that he gave us his opinion on. And if you have any questions, any topics, anything that you would like us to bring up or to hear Master Donnie's opinion, shoot us an email, slide into the DMs. We can bring him back on because the man is bored and in quarantine. So let's pick his brain. So that's going to be the end of the episode for y'all.
Thanks for watching the BJJ Goons podcast. You can hit me up at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook. If you want some Mushmaster gear like this sweet t-shirt I got right here, go to favelajujitsu.com. If you want to learn personally from me, whether it be a seminar, a private lesson, virtual coaching, which includes a mind map with your best techniques and submissions in a chart made by me, or you want match critiques where I break down your matches in real time with video voiceover and cursor, like John Madden, you can hit me up at timspriggsbjj.com. Peace and blessings to everyone. Stay safe out there. And if you lose money because of my picks, that's on you. But if you win money, I want my cut. Peace.
I got you. I got a little bit.
Master Donnie's like a kingpin, man. Like he's really like, you know what? I'm gonna nickname. You know my nickname for you, Master Donnie.
What's that?
The Godfather.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're the Godfather, bro. You're the Godfather. You really are. You want to start? I got a juicy one for you because we talk about this all the time. This might be Patreon content.
Okay.
Hey, I'm down.
Okay. What is your thoughts on steroids and jiu-jitsu? Because I'm going to say for me personally, it sucks for me because I have family. Like I've been spending a lot of time with my family lately, right? And I show them pictures of guys that I fight, and I tell them about the sport. And like to me, I'm like, man, I'm actually pretty good at jiu-jitsu. I've never done PEDs and I've won a lot of stuff. People say I'm good, but like, man, like if you think about it, I think 95% of the guys are on steroids, and that's really hard, and it pisses me off. What are your thoughts on steroids and jiu-jitsu?
I think as a moral person, as an instructor, and what I teach the kids, I believe that they are wrong, and I would teach that. I'm going to say my strongest view on them, and then I'm going to back it down a little bit. You're a female dog if you're taking steroids and fighting people who are not on steroids. That's just how I feel about that. I even feel more strongly about that when it comes to fighting MMA. You know what I mean? Because you're actually now punching somebody in the face, right? Now, but through being a jiu-jitsu coach and being in this world, when I say I take it back a little bit, I do know that, like, from my understanding in the Brazilian culture, it's not as frowned upon, you know?
No, it's definitely considered to be more like a normal thing. Like protein is like, no, steroids can be cheaper than protein in Brazil because of the taxes.
So I think where I would say I'm not giving a pass, definitely not, because now it's out, and I'll get into one thing that I really hate. So if you're down in Brazil and you're taking your supplements, but everyone's in Brazil taking supplements, literally, it's one thing, right? But then you come to the United States, or you're doing tournaments in America, or now you're doing the Worlds, which is in California, and they got USADA and everything going on. So I don't know, because I'm not Brazilian. I didn't grow up in that culture. Not to say that their culture says it's okay, but I didn't grow up where whatever level it's at. All I know is I'm a coach of American kids, and the kids that I coach are clean. You know what I mean? And I think it's unfair that they're clean, and I have to carry some responsibility, because I've taught them to be clean, and I've taught them the same thing I opened up my statement with, that if you take an advantage over someone and they don't get the opportunity to have the same advantage, or they don't want to cheat, then you're being a bitch. You know what I mean? Now they have to go out there in the lion's den and have to fight these guys and beat these guys, which they do. You understand? But I just think it's wrong. It taints the sport. And at some point, like, I know every sport has PEDs. It's just a sad truth, you know. But I think what I really don't like over anything else is that anytime people get caught, or it gets mentioned, or it gets brought up, you find all these excuse makers, or you even find you have, like, there's a very prominent person that every single Brazilian person I know tells me is on steroids and has been on steroids their whole career. Like a lot of, and they're Americans too. I mean, listen, Americans are right there in the same, it's in the culture of our sport, and it's in the culture of sports, right? But I can't stand when you see that particular person that everybody knows is on steroids come out and make a statement against a person who was caught, or just to maybe smooth their own stuff over. I don't know what they're doing. And people believe it. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I do get into jiu-jitsu, and I do know a lot about jiu-jitsu, but I'm not that in tune with a lot of stuff. So if I know somebody is on steroids and it's clear, then why doesn't everyone else understand that? You know what I mean? And I'm not even going for the steroid apologists. The other people are like, doesn't matter if he's on steroids. Like, come on. It does matter. If he fights one person that's not on steroids and the rules say you have to be clean, then it does matter. I don't care. I don't care if you can bring up every single case. You can bring up NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Do whatever you want. If the rules say that you cannot be on PEDs and someone's following those rules and loses to a person that's on PEDs, then it matters to me. I think that is wrong, and I can't respect that person the same, you know. And it's clear. Like, I think ADCC is a there's no rules against steroids in ADCC, I believe, right? I don't think when you sign anything for ADCC, I don't think there's anything that says you will be tested or.
No, they do like Pride, and they're like, we will not drug test, basically, which sucks for me. But
so look at the guys. I mean, watch ADCC and look what people look like for ADCC versus what they look like for a jiu-jitsu tournament. And you don't have to ask, you don't have to ask the question. You can literally just say, he's on steroids, she's on steroids, he's on steroids, you know what I mean? You don't have to ask anymore.
Body transformations.
Yeah, it doesn't. And will there be an exception in there? Yeah, there may be someone say, man, that dude bulked up. It's obvious. But maybe, I think it hasn't happened since he's an adult, but I used to have people at the tournaments. I guess Shane was a pretty ripped up little kid. You know what I mean?
He still is.
Yeah. People used to come at him on the sidelines, and people used to say, well, you know those TLI kids are juicing and stuff like that. I'd be like, are you crazy? So yes, can people be falsely accused? Of course, I do. I believe that, but that's not really the issue. It's like with everything else that's going on. When something's on fire over here, someone wants to talk about something over here. You know what I mean? And it's in jiu-jitsu, it's steroids. You know, you got, like I said, you got prominent people. I'm not going to name any names. Like I'd love to drop names. Like I'll drop a team name, but I'm not going to drop a person's name because I don't want to mess with someone's livelihood. But I mean, they're out there, and in all reality, they're messing with other people's livelihood when they're on steroids. I mean, there's probably prior to Jamil, there are probably numerous Americans or Europeans and other Brazilians as well who've decided not to do steroids, who cannot get over the world champion hump, losing matches by a referee decision. Now imagine you are clean, you are fighting someone who's juiced to the gills, and you're losing a referee decision. It's not about excuse. I'll never let an athlete make an excuse, but I'm the coach. I can make an excuse. I can make as many excuses as I want. You know what I mean? When it comes to fair and unfair, I'll never make an excuse about losing but fair and unfair. When you start looking at those type of things and you start thinking, hey, this guy's a 5 or 6-time world champion. But then on the inner circle, when you meet some people and you get to know some people who know that person, and they all like, oh yeah, it's a well known that person's a steroid, HGH, steroids, their whole career. Then you're like, dang, how many people did that guy knock out of the tournament that had a chance to be a world champion that's doing it the right way or being clean? I just don't see how there's another side to that. I don't see I don't see why there is a dispute or an argument. Like I would never understand anyone that supports a known steroid user.
They flaunt it.
Yeah.
They flaunt it. Like, I don't care. Like, that's wild.
Oh, yeah. There was a guy recently who got caught and is making jokes. I mean, like,
immediately, like the next day, like on him, just like ha ha ha. Like,
am I a fan of that guy? Like his jiu-jitsu is amazing, but I can't support that. I cannot support that. I cannot. I will never tell one of my students to go get his signature. Hey man, there goes such and such. Go get his. There's other people out there that I suspect. But until I find out for sure, or it's not that important that I'm going to go on Sherlock Holmes time, but until that, but I'm as a person who teaches kids and deals with the youth, I know who I have some people on my list that definitely I think no youth in BJJ should be looking up to. 100%. But I always believe in a good comeback. So if you're a big fat juice head and you've been taking steroids your whole life and you clean up and you come back 2 weight classes lower I can be a fan of yours. I have no problem. I have no problem of telling a story like that. None at all.
Nice. All right. So anything else you want to plug, Nico or Master Donnie?
Well, yeah, I just said, I was like, oh, I got nothing. But one last juicy question, though, for all of the ladies, right? What do you think about De La Riva kicking them all out?
De La Riva did that?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you didn't even. Oh, perfect.
Oh,
we got
see, I told you I'm not as
we
connected.
got that expression. Yeah, he kicked all the girls out.
So, from what I remember, the female world champion is Claudia Duval.
And then I think
made a claim that she was assaulted or possibly assaulted. I don't want to. And that was the recoil.
Yeah.
All the ladies out of his school.
He kicked all the ladies out of his school. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
He said what he technically did was he ended mixed classes, and then he said in the future he was gonna add some more female classes, possibly female only. But then when I was also like reading up, trying to find something, I'm not sure how new or old it was. They were saying like that there were female classes on the schedule that didn't really exist because they had to pay extra fees or something like. So I'm not sure when that came out or anything, but like it's for sure he ended all classes for females, which was an interesting move.
Wow. The issue with De La Riva, the thing with him is I don't think nobody really can know what happened, but except for them two, But what I do have a problem with more than their situation, Tim probably already knows what I'm about to say. My problem is, obviously, I'm not going to dig up and rehash nothing old, but I just have a problem with the fact that was news for maybe 24 hours. And I mean, we look back in the history of Jiu-Jitsu, there's only been one time where any type of allegation like that was ever made that there was a horrendous impact on the community that's still being talked about to this day. And since
that happened after this incident with De La Riva, they're still bringing back past stuff on Flow Grappling.
Yeah. They still find a way, right? But so my issue is when that, like I said, anybody with common sense, when you start to see that, how can you take anything seriously that you're seeing online? Like I don't see how anybody takes the news seriously or takes people's stance seriously, So what I teach is you have to make an individual decision on your own, like with everything, like whatever is going on between De La Riva and his student. I mean, that's something that we can never know. I don't know how we'll ever know what that outcome is. So why don't I just do this? Why don't I just leave them alone and focus on my students and what I'm doing with our team and what Master Lloyd has in plan, what TLI has in plan, whatever. Why doesn't everyone else do the same? Instead, what they do is they get on this big hate train, and they're very selective with who they hate. And that's the biggest problem. The biggest problem. Because everyone found it so easy to hate one particular person, but much worse stuff has been out, much worse allegations. And I'll go beyond, what is it when it's not an allegation, when it's the truth? situations. I don't know what you would call it. Like, there's been actual situations with teams that were way worse. Babies being, assaulted. All this type of stuff attached to these teams. I'm not even going to, like I said, just off of sheer respect and understanding that everyone on the team isn't a representation of that bad situation or bad story. I won't name the teams, but they've been out there. So De La Riva's situation, why he would do what he did, I don't know. I know Hickson has never believed in mixed training, from what I understand. But he has a girl. I think Gracie Humaita is Hickson, right? He has one of the best women team in the history of the sport. Yeah. But I mean, he always believed in separation. But like I said, I don't think that's really the American way. I don't know if De La Riva's in. Is he in the United States? I don't think
he's in the States at all.
Nah,
it's just so weird hearing that. Like, it's gotten like progressively crazier and crazier. The lockdown that all this stuff comes out, like, people got time for it.
24. When that story, I mean, let me just say it like this. Let me be cranky for a second. A world champion, a two-time, how many time world champion, comes out and makes an allegation. Her name, her face, interview, legit news source. Am I right? Yeah. I swear to you, that thing was on the internet for no more than 48 hours. I want to say 24 hours.
But you got to look at, he might have the right connections. You don't know who, you know what I'm saying? Like, people got affiliations.
He does have the right connections. He has a whole dynasty across the world. Like, because De La Riva lives in Rio. He has, like, so many affiliates.
And that's why
he's Rio.
That's why I believe that
you got to think.
The people that are out there that can't notice that a guy can make it go away like that should also be able to notice there's another side to that, where someone can take something that isn't what it appears to be and blow it up and keep it progressing with no names, no faces, no nothing, right? So the biggest problem I always had was that, and it doesn't happen to nobody else's, and obviously I'm talking about our own situation, is our team was attacked. Like, the whole team, and it's continually attacked. It's, you know what I mean? It's continually attacked. Like, you guys, that's why I truly appreciate, especially the adults on the team that understand that, and because of the nonsense of it, and have always been supportive regardless, because I'm sure, and even more so, when we had our resurgence and everyone's coming. It's funny because everyone always says it was like a comeback. I didn't feel like we made a comeback. I think we just, I'll go pretty hardcore and say, well, what did we lose? Who did we lose? If you're talking statistically, I would be like Master Julius for a second. If we talk statistically, what medal people who get on the stand, who did we lose?
It's kind of like you guys have, like, what we call on Instagram, like, a shadow ban. The team has had, like, the shadow ban on it for 20 years.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Instagram terms. Like, that's what we're here. We've been winning shit, but unless you specifically look, we ain't popping up. Or
we have to do everything ourselves, and I kind of like that. I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of like that. I like that renegade. I like where we stand in that, So I think it serves us better.
Well, listen, Nico, you have any other questions?
No, but I think we should get you back. Like, I know you got some more good stories. Like, we need to
put you back on the show for a part 2.
If you had nothing to do during quarantine, come up with something.
Yeah, I'm bored to death. I appreciate you guys having me. I normally don't do any shows or anything, but you got me at a good time. You're like the Navy recruiters.
Oh yeah,
we got you. We got you. This is like, I'm your Navy recruiter. I got you.
I know I rambled a little bit and it sounded like I came at certain people. I'm not coming at anybody. I love everybody in jiu-jitsu, and I think everyone deserves respect for what they've done. I just don't like cheaters, one, and sometimes you got to look at things for what it is. And I think sometimes the fanboy mentality takes over in the BJJ community. And I think if everyone does a little better job, you can start looking past some certain things, issues like steroids, and you see these issues with teams or these individuals on teams. Stop trying to witch hunt everybody and do, everyone needs to take accountabilities for their own actions. And also, what purpose does it serve for you to throw gasoline on a fire? You know what I mean? It doesn't serve any purpose at all. I believe in trying to stay positive and do what you can to build up the sport in a positive manner inside your own circle. And again, if everyone does that, we should see a spike in BJJ popularity.
Amazing words to end on.
All right, thank you.
This has been the BJJ Goons podcast. Thanks for listening. You can hit me up on timspriggsbjj.com or timspriggsbjj on Facebook and Instagram. Nico?
Make sure to follow me on No New Nico and Favela Jiu-Jitsu, and check out favelajujitsu.com. Dropping some tank tops and crop tops next week, actually.
Peace.